All right, jumping right in. We're doing a deep dive today on Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's right, Robert Kiyosaki's classic.
If you're listening, you're probably interested in boosting your financial IQ, right? And maybe even building some serious wealth.
Absolutely.
Well, this book is jam-packed with ideas that really make you think. And we're not just hitting the highlights today, we're going deep.
Pulling out those juicy bits, the stuff that makes you go, aha.
Right, because this book really challenges, well, a lot of what we think we know about money.
It does.
Like, ever wonder if your house is really an asset?
Or how those wealthy folks seem to just like invent money.
Exactly. We're going to get into all of that.
DR.
So Kiyosaki kicks things off with this really fascinating story about growing up with two dads, basically.
Two dads, two perspectives, right?
Yeah. One is his biological father, super educated guy, but struggles financially.
Mm.
And then there's his friend's dad, the rich dad.
The self-made entrepreneur.
Yeah. And these two dads, totally different views on money. It's like this constant push and pull for Kiyosaki.
And forces him and us as readers to confront our own beliefs about money.
It really does make you think critically about it.
Yeah, and you know, those contrasting perspectives are where things get interesting. One dad says, play it safe. The other one, learn to manage risk.
Huh?
One thinks a house is like the ultimate investment.
Uh-huh.
The other, well, he sees it as a liability, something we're going to explore.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, that's a big one. Makes you rethink that whole, American dream thing.
It does.
How can a house be a liability, though? Everyone wants to own a house.
Right. Well, that brings us to one of the most powerful ideas in this whole book. The rich, they don't work for money.
Oh, here we go. This is where it gets good. Do you remember that part where Kiyosaki is working for Rich Dad and he's only making like 10 cents an hour?
Oh, yeah.
He felt exploited, right?
He did at first.
Yeah.
But there was a much bigger lesson going on there.
Did that resonate with you when you first read it?
Absolutely. It was such a clever way to illustrate the point. The poor and the middle class, they work for money, but the rich, they have money work for them.
It wasn't even about the hourly wage at all. It was about the financial education he was getting, disguised as this crummy job.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this. Think about your own paycheck for a second. Where's it going? Who's actually profiting from all your hard work?
Yeah.
Are you stuck on that hamster wheel, just running and running but not getting ahead financially?
It's a tough question to face, but it's the core of what Kiyosaki wants us to confront. Understand where our money goes, who's winning because of our work, and then how to break free from that cycle.
Break free? Okay, how do we do that?
Mind your own business. That's what Kiyosaki says.
Wait, hold on. Don't go quitting your job and becoming an entrepreneur overnight.
No, not at all. He's not saying that. Think about the example he uses, Ray Kroc, the McDonald's guy.
Oh, yeah.
Someone asks him what business he's really in. What does he say?
The real estate business, not the hamburger business, right?
He's thinking about the underlying asset, the land underneath all those golden arches.
That's some big picture thinking.
Exactly. It's not about becoming a landlord overnight. It's about building that asset column.
While you keep your day job.
Exactly. You got it.
It's like a plan B that could become plan A. But that brings up another key point, understanding what assets and liabilities actually are.
Right. And this is where Kiyosaki's he has these simple definitions that are so helpful.
Yeah.
He cuts through all that confusing financial jargon and just gives it to you straight.
Yeah.
And an asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes it out. Cash flow, that's the key.
Yeah, that's such a clear way to look at it. Okay, speaking of mind-blowing ideas, how about this one? The rich, they invent money.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not counterfeiting or anything like that.
No, not that. It's about really understanding how the whole financial system works, right?
Yeah.
Especially the tax code, and then using it to your advantage. He dives into the history of taxes, showing how corporations have a whole different set of rules than us regular folks, and how the wealthy, well, they use that to their advantage.
Just protect their assets and all that, yeah.
Exactly.
Do you remember how Kiyosaki uses the story about Alexander Graham Bell and the telephone?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
He offered to sell his invention to Western Union for $100,000.
$100,000. Think about that. Back then.
And they left him off.
Huge mistake.
Huge. Bell went on to create, a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Exactly.
What's so interesting about that story, though, is it shows you that you have to be bold. You got to have vision.
Some people see risk, others see an opportunity.
Yeah. So financial intelligence, it's not just about working for a paycheck. It's about being able to adapt, to change, and to create real wealth.
Absolutely. But let's be real for a second. There are some real roadblocks that can hold people back from all this, even when they understand the ideas.
There are.
Kiyosaki lays out 5 major ones: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't just like list them off, though, right? He digs into them, gives examples, personal stories, too.
He does.
Shows how these things can really sabotage you financially. I think fear is a big one for a lot of people.
Definitely. Kiyosaki says the fear of losing money is often stronger than the desire to be rich. It holds them back from taking those calculated risks,
Right, right.
from jumping on opportunities.
Do you remember the story about Rich Dad taking him to the Alamo?
Oh, yeah. Powerful story.
What was the lesson there? I mean, it wasn't about, glorifying defeat, was it?
Not at all. It was about understanding courage, the courage to fight for what you believe in, even when it seems impossible. It was about seeing failure not as a reason to quit, but as a chance to learn, to grow stronger.
So powerful. And cynicism, man, that can be just as bad. Remember how he uses that example of people who say, I don't want to fix toilets when they hear about real estate investing.
Oh, yeah, they're so focused on the downsides, they miss the bigger picture.
It's like letting this one little detail, overshadow the fact that you could actually build real financial freedom.
Right. Cynicism, it makes you blind to the opportunities that are right there.
So we got to train our minds to see those opportunities.
Yeah.
Can't get bogged down in all that negativity.
Exactly.
And then there's laziness, which a lot of times it shows up as procrastination.
Right.
Or making excuses.
Right.
Kiyosaki talks about those classic lines like, when I make some money, then I'll think about my future.
My spouse handles the finances.
Yeah. It's like pushing that responsibility onto someone else or putting things off indefinitely.
But time, that's a valuable asset. And the longer you wait.
The less time you have.
Exactly.
His rich dad always stressed that financial education, it's crucial, no matter how much you're currently making.
It's about investing in your mind. Knowledge is power when it comes to building wealth.
So true. Okay, and then we've got those bad habits.
Oh, yeah, he dives deep on this one.
Right.
Our spending habits, they're often so deeply ingrained. He talks about people buying all these fancy things on credit just to look rich.
To look the part.
Right, instead of building assets first. Instant gratification, that's the trap. Instead of focusing on the long game.
He says the poor and the middle class, they often buy luxuries first.
Right.
But the rich, they buy them last.
After they've built their asset cost.
It's a total mind shift,
Yep,
right?
it is. Delay gratification, focus on the long term.
And finally, arrogance, which Kiyosaki sees as a mask for ignorance.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. It's the kind of arrogance that stops people from learning, from growing. They won't admit they don't know something. They won't ask for help.
And it can be their downfall.
So we've talked about all these obstacles, but
Yeah.
let's get into the good stuff. How do we actually get started on the path to wealth building? Kiyosaki gives us a list of things to do, right? Actions we can take.
He does. Talks about finding mentors who can guide you, share their knowledge. He tells a great story about a gold miner. The guy says, there's gold everywhere. Most people just aren't trained to see it.
So true. Once you start to understand these principles, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. It's like your mind is trained to spot those golden nuggets.
Right, you develop that financial intelligence. And he also stresses mastering a formula, learning fast, adapting to change. The world is always evolving. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow.
It's like who uses a paper map anymore, right?
Right.
We have GPS.
Exactly. And in the financial world, new strategies, new technologies, they're always emerging.
So we got to be lifelong learners.
We do.
One of the most practical tips, though, I think, is to pay yourself first. You familiar with that idea?
Oh, yeah. That comes from George Clayson's book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It's all about developing that discipline to put money into your asset column before you pay anyone else.
Even when bills are piling up, creditors are calling.
Especially then. Kiyosaki tells stories about times when he was struggling financially, but he still made that a priority. Pay yourself first, no matter what.
It's like prioritizing your own financial well-being.
Right.
Setting yourself up for success.
Exactly. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
From scarcity to abundance. Believing in your ability to build wealth.
Easier said than done, but...
It is. But it's crucial.
Okay, Kiyosaki also says to be an Indian giver. Sounds a little counterintuitive, right?
It does, but he's talking about the power of reciprocity.
Giving can lead to receiving.
Exactly. By providing value to others, you actually create opportunities for yourself.
Okay, so like finding a great real estate broker. You pay them a commission, But their expertise could help you make way more money than that.
Right. It's about those win-win situations. And finally, he talks about finding heroes.
Heroes.
People who inspire you, who
Yeah.
make success seem achievable.
Right,
He
right.
talks about how he used to look up to baseball legends, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron.
I love that.
But as he got older, his heroes became these financial giants. Warren Buffett, Donald Trump. He studied their strategies, their whole mindset.
It's like finding role models who embody the kind of financial success you want.
Right. And Kiyosaki's point is that heroes make things look easy. And that can be so inspiring. It's like, if they can do it, I can too.
Exactly. It's about believing in yourself, in your potential, seeing proof that it can be done.
It can be done.
And then there's the teaching aspect, too. Kiyosaki says the more you teach, the more you learn. So it's not about keeping all this financial knowledge to yourself.
Not at all. It's about sharing it, creating this cycle of abundance.
Everybody wins. So we've covered a lot of ground. The two dads, the key principles, the obstacles. But one of the most important things Kiyosaki says is to find your own path, not just financially, but in life, right?
Find your purpose, your passion, the thing that gets you up in the morning.
Because if you hate your job, no amount of money is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
He talks about his own journey, how he actually followed his poor dad's advice at first, got a secure job, but it left him feeling empty, unfulfilled.
It wasn't until he started really listening to his rich dad that he felt a sense of purpose.
And that led him to create the Cash H. Avlo game, right?
It did.
It's become this global phenomenon. Millions of people have played it.
It's a fantastic way to teach people about money, about investing, and in a fun way. It helps people understand the difference between assets and liabilities.
Yeah, it's like a simulator for real life.
Exactly. You make mistakes in the game, but you learn from them without risking real money.
And he also talks about surrounding yourself with people who are, smarter than you in certain areas, finding those mentors who can guide you,
Absolutely.
recognizing that you don't have to know everything.
And sometimes seeking advice from people who have already achieved what you want, that can be the fastest way to get there.
He even suggests forming your own board of directors.
He does.
Like a group of trusted advisors, people who can offer different perspectives, help you make good decisions.
It's like having a team of experts in your corner.
Yeah. So it's not just what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And who you can learn from.
Exactly. Financial success, it's rarely a solo endeavor.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about entrepreneurs and investors. But what about people who are already successful in their professions? Doctors, lawyers, engineers. Does rich dad, poor dad apply to them?
It absolutely does. Kiyosaki argues that even these highly educated professionals can be financially illiterate.
Oh.
They're often trapped in that rat race, too. Working hard, paying taxes, accumulating liabilities they think are assets.
Okay, so their main focus is on earning income, not on building assets that could create passive income.
Right. And they often fall into this trap of upgrading their lifestyle as their income goes up, keeps them stuck in that cycle.
Always working for money. So what's Kiyosaki's message to them?
Start thinking like investors. Build that financial intelligence. Create an asset column, something that can provide security and freedom no matter what their job is.
Explore different investment vehicles like real estate, stocks, maybe even start a business.
He even suggests taking a second job, not for the income, but for the education, the experience.
So even if you're already successful in your field, this book can still offer valuable insights,
Sure.
strategies for reaching true financial freedom.
Taking control of your destiny, not being tied to a paycheck.
It's about knowing the rules of the game and playing to win.
Exactly.
Kiyosaki believes financial education is essential for everybody. Doesn't matter how old you are, how much you make, what you do for a living.
It's about giving yourself the power to make good decisions, to build a secure future.
Yeah, for you, for your family. And then he introduces this idea of the cash flow quadrant,
Right.
a really helpful way to understand the different ways people earn income.
It is. He identifies 4 quadrants: employee,
Okay.
self-employed, business owner, and investor.
So most people spend their lives in the employee and self-employed quadrants.
Yeah, working for someone else or running their own small business,
Trading their time for money, limited earning potential.
often feeling stuck.
And he says the path to real financial freedom is in the business owner and investor quadrants.
Right, where you own systems that generate income rather than trading your hours for it.
So business owners build businesses that can run without them, and investors, well, they make their money work for them.
The cash flow quadrant is a really great visual representation of all of this.
It's about understanding where you are now, and then figuring out how to move towards those other quadrants.
From worker to owner.
From trading time for money to having money work for you.
That's the key.
And he gives us tons of advice on how to make that happen, from learning about finance to building networks.
And overcoming those obstacles, remember, fear, cynicism, all that.
Right.
It's all connected.
So whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, that cash flow quadrant can be a helpful tool.
It can. Helps you clarify your goals and map out your path. It's about understanding the different ways to generate income and then choosing the path that gives you the most freedom, the most abundance.
Yeah, the life you truly want.
Exactly. Now, let's add another layer to this.
Okay.
In addition to the cash flow quadrant, Kiyosaki talks about the 3 different types of income: earned income, passive income, and portfolio income.
Most of us are familiar with earned income. That's the paycheck we get from our jobs, trading our time, our energy for a set amount of money.
Right, but passive income, that's a whole different ballgame. That's money generated from assets that work for you.
Even while you sleep, right?
Exactly. Think rental properties, dividends from stocks, royalties from a book you wrote or something you invented.
Okay, yeah.
And finally, portfolio income. That's the money that comes from things like stocks and bonds.
Got it. So Kiyosaki argues that the wealthy, they focus on building those passive and portfolio income streams.
Right, so they're not so dependent on a job.
It's not just about how much you make, then. It's about how much you keep.
And how hard it works for you.
So it's not about chasing the highest salary. It's about building a system that makes money for you.
Precisely.
And that's where financial literacy, investing skills, the ability to spot an opportunity, that's what makes all the difference.
It is.
Kiyosaki says understanding these different income types is key if you want to build real, lasting wealth.
It's about making smart choices.
So diversify those income streams. Don't just rely on that one paycheck.
Right. Build assets so you can have that passive income, that portfolio income coming in.
A financial portfolio that works for you, even while you're out there living your life, pursuing your passions.
Exactly. And I think that's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive.
It's about designing a life where your money works harder than you do. But how do we actually make that happen? It's about creating a life where money isn't a constant worry, where it supports your dreams instead of holding you back.
Kiyosaki uses a great analogy to illustrate this point. It's the story of Ed and Bill.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Ed, he's working tirelessly, carrying buckets of water to his village,
Right.
back and forth all day.
Tough work.
But Bill, he takes a different approach.
He does. He builds a pipeline.
Exactly. Ed represents those stuck in the E&S quadrants, trading their time for money.
The hamster wheel.
Right. But Bill, he embodies the B&I quadrants, creating a system that brings the water to him.
It's such a great visual. The pipeline represents building those assets that generate that passive income, like rental properties, dividend stocks, even royalties from a book you wrote.
Exactly. And suddenly it's not about how many hours you can work, it's about how smart you can make your money work for you.
Game changer. But you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's not some get-rich-quick scheme. It's about a fundamental shift in mindset.
It is. Challenging those deep-seated beliefs about money that we've inherited from our families, from society.
Like breaking free from the matrix.
Exactly.
We're questioning everything, taking control. Speaking of control, Kiyosaki talks a lot about financial education. And it's not just about knowing, the difference between a stock and a bond.
Right. It's about understanding those underlying principles and how to apply them to your own situation.
Becoming financially fluent.
Yes.
Was there a specific piece of financial advice from the book that really resonated with you?
The one that really stands out for me is the concept of paying yourself first. It's about developing that discipline, setting aside a portion of your income for savings and investments before you pay any other bills.
Even when those bills are, right there in your face.
Especially then. Kiyosaki, he shares stories about being under financial pressure, but he still made that a non-negotiable. Pay yourself first.
It's powerful. It's about prioritizing your future self, even when things are tough.
It is. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount. Even small, consistent contributions can grow over time. Compound interest is a powerful thing.
Like planting a seed and watching it grow. Speaking of growth, Kiyosaki talks about mastering a formula and learning quickly. He says that's so important in today's world.
It is. Things are changing so fast.
The business world especially. What worked 5 years ago might be totally irrelevant now.
You gotta evolve, adapt,
Lifelong learning.
Absolutely. And one of the best ways to learn quickly is to find mentors. People who've already achieved what you want to achieve.
They can guide you, help you avoid those costly mistakes. It's like a shortcut, in a way. They've already walked the path. They can show you the best route.
Exactly. And Kiyosaki says, look around. You probably already admire people who embody that financial intelligence, that success you're looking for.
Successful entrepreneurs, savvy investors, even family members or friends who are really good with money.
Absolutely. Reach out to them. Ask for guidance. You might be surprised how willing people are to help.
It's like tapping into this wellspring of wisdom.
Right.
Right. And sometimes just hearing someone else's story, about how they overcame their financial challenges, that can be the thing that keeps you going.
For sure.
Now, Kiyosaki spends a lot of time in the book talking about the obstacles that hold people back. And we talked about them earlier, but let's dive in a little deeper.
Right. Those 5 major roadblocks.
Fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance. Like gremlins on your shoulder.
Trying to sabotage you.
They really are. And he doesn't just list them off. He gives all these examples of how they show up in our lives, how to deal with them.
He does.
Like, remember when he talks about how fear can paralyze us? It stops us from taking risks, even calculated ones, or seizing opportunities that could lead to breakthroughs.
Right.
Remember the Alamo story? His rich dad taking him there? That wasn't just a history lesson.
Not at all. It was a lesson in courage, resilience.
Yeah. Understanding that even when things seem impossible, you got to keep fighting for what you believe in. And that failure, well, it's not the end. It's a chance to learn and come back stronger.
Exactly. Reframe your relationship with failure.
See it as a stepping stone.
Exactly.
And then cynicism. It can be just as damaging as fear, I think. Remember that example Kiyosaki uses, the people who hear about real estate investing and they're like, ugh, I don't want to fix toilets.
Oh, yeah. They're so focused on the negatives, they miss the whole point.
It's like that one little inconvenience is overshadowing this massive opportunity to build wealth.
Right. Cynicism blinds you.
To the possibilities.
Exactly.
And then there's laziness, which so often it's just procrastination, right? Or excuses. He talks about those classic lines. I'll start investing when I have more money, or I'm too busy right now.
Yeah, classic avoidance tactics.
But the truth is, we're in charge of our own financial futures. We can choose to take control, or we can just let things happen to us.
And time is ticking.
It is.
The sooner you start, the better.
Okay, and then there are those bad habits, those spending patterns that can keep us stuck.
He talks about the importance of tracking your spending, seeing where your money is going, then, making conscious choices that align with your goals.
Being mindful, right?
Yeah.
Making sure your money is working for you, not against you.
Absolutely.
And finally, arrogance, which he describes as a mask for ignorance.
Refusing to admit you don't know something, not asking for help when you need it.
It's like trying to build a financial empire on a foundation of sand.
Exactly. So how do we overcome all these obstacles? Kiyosaki, he offers a bunch of different strategies, but one of the most important is this. Surround yourself with the right people.
Oh, yeah. Mentors, heroes, partners.
Right. People who believe in you, who can offer support, guidance, encouragement.
Your own personal cheerleading squad.
Exactly. And, finding mentors, it doesn't have to be this formal thing. It could be as simple as reaching out to someone you admire or attending industry events, joining online communities.
You proactive.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there.
And don't be afraid to just ask for advice. You might be surprised at how willing people are to share what they know.
It's true. And sometimes just hearing someone else's story, about how they overcame their own financial hurdles, that could be enough to give you the motivation to keep going. It's powerful stuff. But, building that network, that's just one piece of the puzzle, right? Kiyosaki also stresses the importance of taking action, of putting all these principles into practice.
Right.
It's not enough to just read the book and be like, yeah, that makes sense. You got to actually do something with that knowledge.
Exactly. Put it into action.
Take those insights and turn them into concrete steps that move you toward your goals. And one of the most effective ways to do that is to start investing.
Right. Now, investing can seem scary, especially if you're new to it.
It can.
But Kiyosaki, he encourages you to start small. Educate yourself. Find investments that match your comfort level, your financial goals.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. Spread that risk.
Right. Build a portfolio that can handle those ups and downs in the market.
And do your research. Due diligence. Really understand what you're getting into. It's like being a financial detective.
It is.
Gathering clues, analyzing the evidence, making informed decisions.
And remember, compound interest. Even small, consistent investments over time, they can grow exponentially.
Plant that seed. Let it grow.
Yeah.
But it takes time, patience. You got to believe in that long-term growth.
You do.
Now, while investing is super important, Kiyosaki also talks about building businesses.
Yeah.
He says that owning a business can give you a level of control, flexibility, and income potential that you often don't get from a regular job.
It can. But of course, starting a business is risky. Not everyone's cut out for that.
It's not for the faint of heart.
It's not. But he also points out that entrepreneurship, it doesn't always mean starting this big traditional brick and mortar business.
Okay.
You could create a side hustle, do some freelancing, even develop a passive income stream online.
So it's about finding a way to generate income that works for you, right?
Yeah.
And leveraging your skills, your passions.
Exactly. Taking control of your earning potential. Building a life that aligns with your values, with your aspirations. And he gives tons of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, tips for identifying opportunities, creating a business plan, marketing effectively.
So like a roadmap for navigating the world of entrepreneurship.
Right. And a key message throughout the book is this. Financial success, it's not just about making money, it's about achieving financial freedom.
What's the difference? I mean, aren't those basically the same thing?
Not quite. Making money is about generating income. But financial freedom, that's about having control over your time, over your resources. It's about living a life where money is no longer a source of stress or limitation.
It's about having options, freedom to choose.
Exactly. Freedom to choose how you spend your time, your energy, what you do with your life. It's about reaching a level of security where you can pursue your passions, spend time with your loved ones, travel, or just have the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're in control of your financial destiny.
Breaking free from the rat race. Designing a life that truly reflects who you are.
Exactly.
And to understand this, Kiyosaki uses the cash flow quadrant.
Right. We talked about it briefly earlier.
But it's such a powerful concept, it's worth revisiting.
Absolutely.
So the cash flow quadrant, it divides income generation into 4 categories.
Employee, self-employed,
Yeah.
business owner, and investor.
And the idea is that most people, they spend their lives in those first 2 categories, employee and self-employed. They're trading time for money. They often feel trapped, limited.
They do.
But Kiyosaki says true financial freedom, it lies in those other 2 quadrants, business owner and investor.
That's where you own the systems that generate income rather than trading your time for it.
Business owners build businesses that can run without them.
Yeah.
And investors, they put their money to work, generating passive income from things like real estate, stocks, other businesses.
Exactly. Now, the cash flow quadrant is a simplified model, but it really helps you visualize these different paths.
Yeah, it's a mind shift for sure, from worker to owner, from being dependent on a job to creating systems that work for you, even while you're sleeping.
It really is. And Kiyosaki gives you all the tools you need to make that shift.
From learning about finance to building your network to taking those first steps toward investing or starting a business.
He does.
It's about creating a life of abundance, of freedom, a life where money works for you, not the other way around.
And you know, it's important to remember this journey to financial freedom, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges.
And moments of doubt.
Oh yeah, for sure. But with persistence, with resilience, with a willingness to learn and grow, you can get there. You can achieve that financial independence.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad gives us all the knowledge, the insights, the inspiration we need to make that happen.
It does. It's a book that can truly change your life if you let it, if you're willing to embrace its message and take action. Now, speaking of action, one of the most practical things Kiyosaki encourages us to do is this. Start tracking your income and your expenses.
It seems so basic, but you know what? It's so important. It's about understanding where your money is going, seeing those patterns. Then you can make changes, make smarter choices.
Exactly. Shine a light on your financial habits, the good and the bad.
A lot of people avoid budgeting because they think it's going to be like this super restrictive thing,
Yeah.
or that it's too complicated.
Right. But it doesn't have to be. There are so many apps and tools that make it easy, even fun. Find a system that works for you, make it a habit.
Once you have a clear picture of your cash flow, then you can start making those adjustments. Free up more money to save, to invest.
Exactly. It's not always about making more money. It's about managing the money you already have more effectively.
And on that note, Kiyosaki talks a lot about building a strong financial foundation. paying down high-interest debt, setting up an emergency fund, contributing to a retirement plan.
Those are the essentials. Creating a safety net, protecting yourself from those unexpected bumps in the road.
Exactly. And it can feel overwhelming, but start small, one step at a time. Tackle that debt first, then build up that emergency fund. Slow and steady wins the race.
It does. Consistency is key.
Now, you know something that's always intrigued me is the idea of investing in yourself. What does that even mean in the context of personal finance? Isn't investing about stocks and bonds and real estate?
Well, it can be, but investing in yourself is about expanding your knowledge, your skills, your network. Taking courses, attending workshops, reading, even just connecting with people who can teach you something new.
Ah, I see. So it's about personal and professional growth, which can then lead to greater earning potential, to more opportunities. I like that.
Right, and it doesn't have to be expensive either. There are tons of free or low-cost resources available.
Libraries, online courses, mentorship programs, so many options. It's about being resourceful, about finding creative ways to learn.
Exactly. And don't forget to ask for help, for guidance. People are often more than willing to share their knowledge and experience.
So true. And it's humbling to realize that we don't have to have all the answers.
Right, we can learn from each other.
Build that network of support. Tap into the collective wisdom.
And as you're on this journey towards financial freedom, remember to enjoy the process.
Oh yeah, that's important. It's so easy to get caught up in the chase, to forget to actually enjoy the present moment.
Kiyosaki reminds us to celebrate those small wins, to learn from our mistakes, to see the challenges as opportunities to grow. It's about finding balance.
Working towards your financial goals, but also living a life that's full, that's meaningful. Experiences, relationships, personal fulfillment, all of it matters.
It does. He wants us to align our financial pursuits with our passions, with our values.
So money is a tool, not a master. It supports your dreams. It doesn't dictate them.
Exactly. And that's what makes Rich Dad, Poor Dad so powerful. It's not just about getting rich. It's about designing a life you love, a life of purpose, of meaning, of abundance.
It's about becoming the architect of your own destiny, of your own future.
Right. And it all starts with that shift in mindset.
Questioning those old beliefs about money.
And embracing a new way of thinking. It really does help you see those different paths to financial freedom.
Yeah, it's about understanding those different ways to generate income.
Yeah.
Then, choosing the path that aligns with the kind of life you want, right? The level of freedom and abundance you're after.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the cash flow quadrant, but then Kiyosaki also talks about these three different types of income.
Right. Earned income, passive income, and portfolio income.
We talked about them a bit earlier, but it's worth revisiting, I think. Earned income is the most common type, right?
Yeah.
That's what most people work for. You trade your time, your effort for a paycheck.
Right. But passive income, that's different. It's the money that comes from assets that are working for you even when you're not.
Like when you're sleeping.
Exactly. Rental properties, dividends from stocks, royalties from a book or an invention.
Ah, okay, those are all great examples.
And then there's portfolio income. That comes from paper assets, stocks, bonds, things like that.
Got it. So Kiyosaki says that the wealthy, they focus on building those passive and portfolio income streams.
They do. It helps them achieve financial freedom without being tied to a job.
It's not just about how much you earn then, it's about how much of that money you keep and how hard it's working for you.
Exactly. It's not about chasing the highest salary. It's about creating a system that generates income without requiring your constant effort.
Ah, so it's all about putting those systems in place.
It is. And that's where financial literacy comes in. Investing skills, the ability to spot and leverage opportunities.
Seeing those openings that other people miss.
Right.
Kiyosaki says understanding these different types of income, it's crucial for making smart decisions, building that solid foundation for wealth.
It is.
Diversify, diversify those income streams. Don't just rely on that earned income.
Right. Build those assets. Create those passive and portfolio income streams.
It's about building a portfolio that works for you, even while you're out there enjoying life, pursuing your passions. Okay, this is all great stuff, but it can feel a little overwhelming. We've got all these ideas from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but where do we actually start?
Well, one of the most practical things Kiyosaki suggests is to just start tracking your income and expenses.
Ah, the good old budget. I knew it. It seems so basic, but it's so important.
It is. It's about becoming aware of where your money is going, seeing where you can cut back, where you can make more strategic choices.
Yeah, you got to shine a light on those financial habits, right?
Yeah.
The good ones and the bad ones. then you can make adjustments.
Exactly.
I think a lot of people resist budgeting because they think it's going to be super restrictive or they think it's just too complicated.
Right, but it doesn't have to be that way at all. There are tons of apps and tools that can make it really simple, even fun.
Okay, so find a system that works for you, make it a habit.
Right.
And once you've got a handle on that cash flow, then you can start finding ways to free up more money to invest or save. It's not always about earning more. It's about making the most of what you've already got.
That's a great point. Kiyosaki also emphasizes the importance of building a strong financial foundation.
Uh-huh.
Things like paying down that high-interest debt, setting up an emergency fund, making sure you're contributing to a retirement plan.
Yeah, the essentials. It's about creating that safety net, protecting yourself from those unexpected surprises life throws your way.
Exactly. And again, it doesn't have to be this overwhelming thing. Take it one step at a time. Focus on knocking out that high-interest debt first, then build up that emergency fund. Slow and steady wins the race, right?
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
I love that. I've always been intrigued by this idea of investing in yourself. What does it actually mean, though? I mean, isn't investing all about stocks and bonds and real estate?
Those are all great investments, but investing in yourself, that's about expanding your knowledge, your skill set, your network, taking courses, going to workshops, reading books, even just connecting with people who can teach you something new.
Ah, I see. So it's about personal and professional growth,
Sure.
which can then lead to more income, more opportunities. It's like investing in your future earning potential. I love that.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be expensive either. There are so many free or low-cost resources out there. Libraries, online courses, mentorship programs.
Wow, yeah, the possibilities are endless.
They really are. It's about being resourceful, creative. Don't be afraid to ask for help, for guidance from people who have already achieved the kind of success you're after.
So true. It's humbling to realize that we don't have to have it all figured out. We can learn from others.
Exactly. We can build that network of support, tap into that collective wisdom. And as you're on this journey towards financial freedom, remember to enjoy the process. It's not just about the destination, it's about the ride.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in the chase, to forget to appreciate the present moment.
Right. Kiyosaki reminds us to celebrate those small wins, to learn from our mistakes, to see the challenges as opportunities for growth. It's about finding that balance.
Working towards those goals, but also living a full life. Experiences, relationships, personal fulfillment, it all matters.
It does. And he wants us to align those financial goals with our passions, with our values.
So it's not about becoming a slave to money. It's about making money work for you, supporting those dreams, not dictating them.
Exactly. And that's what makes Rich Dad, Poor Dad so powerful. It's not just about getting rich. It's about designing a life you love, a life of purpose, of meaning, of abundance.
It's about taking control of your destiny, of your future.
Right. And it all starts with that shift in mindset.
Questioning those old beliefs about money that we've been carrying around.
And embracing a new way of thinking.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a call to action. It's a challenge to step outside of those comfort zones to create the financial future we deserve.
It is. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge, with the right mindset, and taking action.
Building a life where money works for you, not the other way around. So as you continue your deep dive into the world of financial intelligence, remember those key takeaways from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Challenge the conventional wisdom. Invest in your financial education. Build that asset column. And never stop learning and growing.
And most importantly, believe in yourself. Believe in your ability to achieve financial success. You have the power to create the future you desire.
What a fantastic deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a book that can truly change your relationship with money, empower you to create a life of abundance, of freedom.
And remember, this is just the beginning. There is a whole world of financial knowledge out there waiting to be discovered.
So keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep. Until next time, happy investing.